Hello, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mangs, and I welcome you guys to another Egg Cup replay commentary. This time around, we're covering the controversial Round 4. And by the way, guys, in case you don't know what the Egg Cup is, it is an open Advanced Wars tournament for everyone. It has over 900 players in it. You can sign up regardless of your skill level. If you click the video that appears in the top right corner of the screen, it'll give you some more information on how to be part of it. It's very simple. However, signups end in about 2 days, I believe. On the 1st of September, I am closing signups. No more new players will be able to enter. And 1 month after that, the tournament itself will end, and all the games that are not finished will close. And whoever makes it the farthest will be the winner. And if there are multiple people in the final round, I'll obviously let them fight it out. But yeah, so the tournament will end on the 1st of October, if it hasn't ended before then already. So anyway, enough about that. Let's talk a little bit about round 4, shall we? I've dubbed it the Flakjack round, and this one has earned me a lot of whiny messages on Advanced Wars by Web. Believe you me, people were not happy about this turn. I was like, oh, Mangs, why do you force me to play a Luxio? Oh, I don't like unpredictability in my matchups. I think it's fun. That's why I included a round like this. The whole concept within this tournament was that I wanted to throw people off their game a little bit. I wanted to force people out into situations that they normally wouldn't find themselves in on just the Global League or in any other regular Advanced Wars by Web tournament. There's like a million tournaments out there that features like a whole Poor Lore 200 times in a row. Like, I didn't want that shit. I wanted people to actually play some unorthodox matches. I wanted to put some really good players into situations where they wouldn't normally be in and see how they dealt with it. And this match is a very luck-based one, obviously, because you can only pick Flak or Jugger. Those are the only COs you can pick, which means that the matchup is going to be very volatile and very luck-based. And yeah, kind of sucks if you lose against a player just because you were more or less lucky than they were, but hey, that's life. And I personally think the chaos is very fun. So as I said, you can only pick Flak and Jugger. What are the difference between them? Well, they're pretty minor. Jugger is seen as a more volatile pick than Flak. His powers go 5% higher up, but they also go 5% further down. So Flak's day-to-day is -9 to +24, whereas Jugger's day-to-day is -14 to +29. So he is a lot more unpredictable than Flak. However, there is a big difference. If you look at their superpowers, they are also almost interchangeable, only 5% difference, but Jugger's superpower is actually 1 star more expensive compared to Flak. So Flak can get his Barbaric Blow earlier than Jugger can get his Overclock, or sorry, System Crash. So for that reason, I like playing Flak more than Jugger, even though Jugger is a little bit more wild. I do enjoy the cheaper scop, as people say. So I actually like Flak a lot more, but I understand Jugger's also a popular pick. So in this particular matchup, we're going to see Oli.D playing as Flak versus Midfox playing as Jugger. And both of these players are like mid-rated, around 1,000 to 1,100, I believe. So they're around my level, maybe a little bit below my level, but it was still a very entertaining match and I really liked it. So this map is called Darkling Threshold. It is a mixed base map, and it is a wild one. It's one of my favorite mixed base map. A mixed base map means that bases start all over the place, so you have engagement taking place in every which direction, which makes the matchup even more chaotic. We had an absolutely amazing game like this in the Grandmaster tournament, the Season 2. It was Starflash versus Deadefs. It was one of the most exciting games I've ever seen in my life. If you want to watch a really exciting live game, you should go back and check out Season 2 of the Grandmaster tournament. I'll throw a link in the video description. It was a wild match. This map is very, very difficult to play on. I personally got knocked out in it myself because engagements just take place in so many different areas of the map, and these central 2 bases right here, they're almost right next to each other. They're only separated by a little river here, but it's very easy for the opposing player to lock this base down with an artillery here, for example. And these airports are also very crucial because battlecopters are so strong on Darkling Threshold, and yet it's very easy to lock down your opponent's airport with an anti-air, because look at this. Oli.D has his base here, whereas Midfox has his airport here. So he only needs an anti-air in this area to completely lock down the airport. And if one player manages to lock down the opposing player's airport, they can spam battlecopters and get complete air superiority, which is a death sentence on this map, because look how strong battlecopters are on this map. There are rivers and mountains everywhere. There is no way your anti-air is going to catch the opposing player's battlecopter. You know, you have an anti-air in this area, the battlecopter will just dart over the river and be safe. You have to build another anti-air to catch catch it. So the only real viable pick is battlecopters to counter your opponent's battlecopters. And with Flak and Jugger going toe-to-toe against each other, that is going to be pretty wild because, again, the luck damage can go in every which one direction. And also keep in mind, when you're playing a Luxio, your infantry can suddenly shoot down battlecopters during power and superpower, so you want to be very careful about that. There's a lot of like wild plays taking place on this map. Infantry engagements taking place on the sides right here. There's like these little areas right here which will be contested. Artillery very strong on this map. And again, you think you win on one front, your opponent can just front switch over to another front, and suddenly like there's a whole other battle taking place. And once this map goes into the late game, it's very common to start seeing bombers and fighters come out as well. And then you get sort of like a big battle in the middle here. So this lab, as far as I know, doesn't serve a single purpose. There's no lab unit, so it's just a property. You can't capture it, but there's really no point in doing so. So I say, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's get started. So, day one, both players are just going to build infantry, but there are a lot of different openers that you can do on this map. Both players, so this is already a very interesting pick right here. So you see Mid-Fox, he decides to actually go for the airport right away. That's obviously because he could have taken this property, but he goes for the airport, whereas Oli.D decides to go for the city. So this can be a good viable strategy. You can try and get out an early game battlecopter before your opponent gets an Untire out in the field, but it's also very easy to counter it. So it's a little bit of a risky play, but it's a mixed base map, so you're allowed to make some risky openers. Mid-Fox also going for the city right away. It's very easy for Oli.D to take it back, so we'll see if he can actually hold it. So, yeah, both players just capping. Yeah, this city, it's important to take it early, but again, this is going to be a heavily contested city, depending on what the other player does. If they build an artillery and try to lock it down, it's almost impossible to get it back. So Mid-Fox already takes this airport really early on, and I'd say this is a pretty solid play. If he wants to, I mean, he has 7,000... If he saves up money, he can get a battlecopter out on the next turn. He also goes for this attack right here. This is something you definitely can do, but with Flak and Jugger, it's such a volatile matchup because, like, you can experience doing or almost taking more damage yourself compared to what you deal to your opponent due to that luck damage. So, yeah, the luck damage definitely throws a wrench in this matchup early on because engagements can go every which way depending on luck. So you have to like forget everything you know. There again, another engagement against the infantry. Now they're on 4-4. I believe Oli.D rolled a little bit low there, so we'll see. And looks like Oli.D is opening up a tank right away. This tank cannot threaten this city completely on its own. Mid-Fox can just build an artillery to completely zone out that tank. However, the tank can go elsewhere. I mean, it has 4 directions it can go in, essentially, or 3 at least from the start. It can go up here, it can go to the left here, or it can go down. So there's a lot of things you can do with this tank, but one thing that I'm noticing is that Oli.D is just completely ignoring the airport, and that could come back to bite him. So let's see if Mid-Fox decides to punish him for that. So, yeah, so this funny infantry matchup goes on. As units get on low HP, their luck damage does get reduced proportional to their HP. I made an entire video on the luck mechanic if you want to go check it out. It explains it pretty well. And yeah, here we go. Mid-Fox immediately opening up that battlecopter, and Oli.D does not have the means to shut it down. He doesn't even have an Untire yet. So this battlecopter will be able to escape. It'll be able to go into the center where it can pretty much just target whatever area it wants. And Oli.D doesn't even have his airport yet. So he has absolutely no counter for this battlecopter, which is huge. So we'll see what happens. He pulls his infantry back. He moves in next. I maybe would have tried to capture there. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, I maybe would have captured that city instead of attacking because Mid-Fox is capturing the city anyway, and he can just build an Untire here to ward away this battlecopter. So let's see what he decides to do. Send his tank down south. This is a bit of a mistake, I think. All Mid-Fox has to do here is to build a single artillery, and that tank is worthless. But I think he wants to protect the cap on the city. But it looks like Mid-Fox was already heading off to capture one of these cities on the right side anyways. I don't really think this was necessary. So... and he builds some infantry here. Very interesting. What is he going to do with this battlecopter, I wonder? This could be a scary move. Maybe he feels confident that the battlecopter alone won't be able to do that much, since he only has infantry in the area. So yeah, the battlecopter starts to interrupt. Yeah, again, a little bit of a Manx infantry there, as Deegis would say. And this battlecopter now has free reign to harass as much as it wants. Midfox, or sorry, Oli.D really needs to get an anti-air out, and he really needs to capture that goddamn airport, because he cannot let Midfox just have air superiority as he please right now. So, but he pulls back his infantry. And again, one thing that I always find tricky about this map in particular is the capture battle that takes place here and here. I can never figure out how many units I want to send over here, because it's very difficult to reinforce due to the mountains and the forest. So you build a tank, for example, it's not going to be here right away. And you also don't want a tank like lurking about in this corner of the map where it can't really do much. And it looks like Midfox is also building he built a tank, which is an interesting choice. I mean, I guess that works. And finally, the anti-air comes out from Oli.D here in the top western base. But the problem with this battlecopter is that Midfox can just pull it away, and the anti-air will just run around like a headless chicken. Here, get a pretty good luck roll there, 7-5. That's a little bit more than you usually see. There's no common powers on this map, so firepower will be a little low. Interesting choice to attack this infantry right here. Is he just going to throw away the tank? Yeah, so again, a big mistake from Oli.D right here. He attacked with a tank, and he doesn't have his other tank in range. You know, this is what Deegis talks about in his videos. Go watch them. You know, you always want your tanks to cover each other. These two tanks do not cover each other. So this means that Midfox gets a free hit off on Oli.D's tank right here. So that's a very big mistake. So Midfox goes in to interrupt the airport. It's not a terrible move to delay the airport by another turn to get more battlecopters out. He can still get a single battlecopter out before this anti-air reaches the airport to zone it out. So he certainly can do it. And delaying the airport by another turn means that he has a lot extra battlecopters over his opponent. So I kind of agree with throwing an infantry out to get a bit of a tempo advantage here. And yeah, this is what I was talking about. And he got a slightly good luck roll as well, 4-8. So that's a good engagement by Midfox. A big blunder by Oli.D here, did not cover his tanks properly. This battlecopter goes down, eats a free infantry. I don't hate it, but I think this battlecopter maybe would have been better served in the middle. There's something very scary you can do here with this battlecopter, and something that completely shut down Oli.D. And that is if he gets the battlecopter in this space right here, because that locks the base. And if there's a tank on the base, the tank is stuck. And furthermore, because you interrupted the airport, that means you could keep it stuck there for at least 2 turns. If your opponent wants to get out of that base lock, he has to delete his own tank and build an anti-air, which is a huge loss for him. So instead of eating up that 5 HP infantry, I personally would have moved my battlecopter into the right and threatened the base lock. Of course, your opponent can then build an anti-air, but you can still have the threat of a base lock active. So Midfox gets a tank out, not a bad move at all. Tank is a good threat to an anti-air. So Oli.D's turn rolls in right here. Now he can do a joint cap to ensure he gets this airport. Let's see if he does it. So goes for a couple captures here. That's not bad. Sends his anti-air to the right to deal with infantry. Okay. That's not a good move either. I'd say if you've invested this anti-air, you definitely want to keep it in range of the airport. Now, of course, there is a tank down here, but you can still keep the anti-air around so that if a battlecopter comes out, you kill it. Battlecopter's worth 9,000, anti-air worth 8,000, so it's a good trade to kill a battlecopter with an anti-air. So, Oli.D moves, kind of throws away this 4 HP tank. I don't know if I quite agree with that. I mean, at least he has it covered by a full HP tank, but this is still a little scary. And there's infantry coming down here. That's pretty wild. And finally comes the artillery. And keep in mind what I said last turn, guys. If this battlecopter was a little closer, this artillery would not be a safe build. If this battlecopter was just on this tile, then he could not have built an artillery in this base, because boom, base lock. So again, consider that with your battlecopters instead of just eating a free dude. It's very tempting to just click on that wounded infantry and kill it, but keep in mind there are other things that battlecopter could be doing, so always consider those moves carefully. Again, I know it's not easy, you know, like it's not like I always do the right moves either. So again, since his Midfox sends his tank over here, probably to ward away the anti-air, I imagine. I personally would have just pulled these infantry back and just let the anti-air sit there and send the tank down elsewhere. Of course, he can also send it down south. That's also a possibility for sure. So, built some mech. I don't hate that move. Mechs are pretty okay on this map because it's so small. Putting the mech down on the mountain and eventually, or in the city, and then eventually moving into the mountain, pretty good. I think that's a viable play right there. He won't get the interrupt on the airport, so battlecopters will start to come out of there eventually. Builds another mech. Interesting choice. One thing you can say, though, with mechs is that with Flak and Jagger, I almost said, Flak and Jagger, you could argue that mechs are a little bit redundant, because during SCOP, you could just, like, target vehicles with infantry anyway. It's a bit of a gamble, but it kind of works, so, maybe. So, Mid-Fox is moving into the center. He finally has the battlecopter in position, and what's also so great about this battlecopter is that he's currently threatening the airport. So Oli.D has no choice but to build an anti-air this turn, so he's forcing an anti-air out of his opponent. May not be what he wants to build, so it's a good move. This battlecopter is extremely threatening now. So right now, Oli.D is slightly ahead in the capture game. Mid-Fox will get a property on the next turn, but he is behind in unit value at the moment, so he needs to definitely do something. He sends his infantry down here. I don't really know what he thinks he's going to accomplish here. It's so easy to defend these two cities for Mid-Fox, so I would maybe send these infantry up north to ward away this infantry. This is a scary situation right here for Oli.D because this base is very exposed right now. There's two battlecopters here. He also has to pull his anti-air back, so again, sending it to the east was completely redundant. It didn't really do anything for him whatsoever, so that was not great. And yeah, but at least now he has the anti-air in range of the airport, so it gets base locked, so that's good. Oh, and what the hell was that? Tank and infantry, like... Tank versus... what? Oli.D, do you even know how flak works? So, the best he would have been able to get out of that would have been a plus 24 lock. So he could have dealt maximum 2 HP of damage, but it wouldn't even have been that, because the tank's on a city, and defense reduces luck. So, at best, with a healthy infantry, 1 HP of damage is the best thing you can do to a tank with an infantry, outside your power. So, I don't really know what Oli.D tried to do with this. Maybe he thought flak was more OP than he actually was. But it's a weird play. And here comes the artillery. This is a good play, though. Like, this is a solid position for the artillery. He does open himself up to a mech mech attack on his tank next turn, which is good value for Mid-Fox. So, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this. And he builds 2 anti-air. He kind of has no choice, because Mid-Fox has that battlecopter superiority right now, so he needs anti-air everywhere. Otherwise, his base is in danger of being locked down, and that is so scary. So in comes the mech. Mechs and mountains are very good at defending. In comes the battlecopter again. Just see how annoying this little shit is. Like, you can't catch it. There's rivers for it to hide everywhere. He gets a good shot on the tank, though. I like that. That artillery is in danger right now. It has to move away. So, yeah, that battlecopter completely invalidates the anti-air. And he moves his tank. Again, this is such a scary situation right now. It is so easy to get base locked on this map. You have to be careful about it, because you only have a single base. And if that gets locked down, you lose everything in that area. You do have the eastern base up here, but it's further away. So it takes longer for the infantry and other units to reinforce into the battle. So, Mid-Fox decided to go for the capture. I don't think he's going to get it. So, again, bit of a manx move right there. I really hope I didn't foster this kind of play style. Like, I know D just makes a lot of fun of me for it, but I really wish people were more careful with their infantry. I don't actually like slacking my infantry, guys. I just used to do it a lot when I sucked. So please don't do it. It's not a good way to play. So again, another battlecopter comes in, and it's just so annoying how those guys can never be pinned down. I'm almost like, in many of my matches on Darkling Threshold, I've almost contemplated building missiles just because I hate the battlecopter so much. Like a missile base, like a missile airport lock, for example. So Oli.D comes down. He still hasn't captured this property, or has he? No, it's a little bit difficult for me to see the difference between White Nova cities sometimes because of my colorblindness. Or it's not, I think it's Gray Sky. I think it's Gray Sky Infantry. I do struggle a little bit with that. But yeah, as you can see, Mid-Fox is not going to get this city, so capping here was completely redundant. He had a bunch of infantry just sitting around doing nothing, just hoping to interrupt a cap. So don't do that. Don't play into your opponent's hands like that. Oli.D goes for the capture. He's still a little bit ahead in income, which is nice. But I would say that Mid-Fox is in a much stronger position now due to those battlecopters. And he keeps up his attack. Now, I said that this was redundant, but it looks like he's actually going to get a free property out of it. So, while I may have chastised him a little bit for overextending here, he is kind of like, he might be forcing this battlecopter off here to interrupt the cap. So, maybe it's not such a bad idea after all. I mean, an income advantage is an income advantage. So, and now he's bringing his anti-air too. So, yeah, maybe I don't hate this attack as much as I initially thought, because I didn't realize that Mid-Fox hadn't captured his 2 neutral cities down here yet. So, And here comes... So this is a very good defense by Midfox. The only problem is his artillery is very exposed right now. As you can see, this infantry right here. It's a little bit of a luck roll whether or not an infantry can beat a 6 HP infantry in a forest. I think if you roll very high, you can. So it's not a good wall per se, but we'll see if he takes the gamble or not. So he builds another tank, infantry, and day 9 rolls in. So right now they are equal in income. This attack, I don't think it's really going to do much, but, you know, both players still doing it. And he actually gets the kill, which is, that's impressive. That's a high luck roll right there, which exposes the artillery. But he goes for the anti-air. Okay, interesting. So this is an interesting play. What is he going to try and go for? Oh my god, is he going to go for the battlecopter? Oh, very good. Okay, so he actually wall breaks here. Oh, he gets a very low roll, though. 7 HP. I would say normally an anti-air should bring an artillery down to 5 HP, but I think he rolled very low. So attacking the anti-air, I kind of disagree with that. I think I would have gone for the artillery myself. 5 HP anti-air, soon to be 7 HP due to the repairs. It's still going to one-shot battlecopters, so it's not really going to succeed in getting it away. But yeah, I mean, Oli.D is pretty aggressive with the capping right here. He has infantry here, he has infantry down here. It's going to be pretty tricky for Midfox if he doesn't ward away these capping infantry. So we'll see what he does now. Brings his infantry down here, continues to... I don't think you're really going to succeed here. Like, Oli.D's defense is really solid here now. And because of that low luck roll on the artillery, I don't really think this attack is going to go anywhere, but maybe I'll be wrong. Let's see how it plays out. Goes for the capture here. I don't necessarily hate this because it forces the tank not to shoot on a vehicle to interrupt it. He also might be forcing the anti-air or the battlecopter to do it. So he has an infantry here, but he could kill that. So we'll see. We'll see what he maybe we'll see. It's always nice to cap. You can do a suicidal cap if it forces a tank to shoot on you instead of another tank. And yeah, here comes that battlecopter I was talking about. And this is so scary. I do have to ask myself, though, could he have base locked here? Maybe. There's still that anti-air, and it still threatens the battlecopter, so I don't really think that works out that well. So anyway, Oli.D's turn rolls in. He goes for that cap down here now, which is pretty nice. Shoots on the infantry. Doesn't get the one-shot, sadly. He really needs to capture the city right now. It's actually... Is he even aware that he doesn't have the city? So, because that's 1k income that he's just throwing away every turn. So he has a nice defense up north. That's not going to happen. He's not going to get any... Midfox is not going to get any cities over here. In comes the anti-air. And down comes the battlecopter. Battlecopter versus battlecopter. That's a pretty high roll there from Oli.D, so that's a good engagement right there. And he needs to be so careful. Oh, interesting. Base locks himself to take the battlecopter out. Yeah, I guess that's a good move per se. Yeah, that's decent. And builds another battlecopter. So yeah, Oli.D's defense is really solid here. Midfox is not going to be able to break through. So Midfox's play was a lot better moving up here. But here comes the overclock. So yeah, that's some decent luck right there. About 59% extra luck can be had right now. So let's see. He gets a very bad luck roll right there. That's terrible. And he gets a all-right luck roll, I guess. Average luck roll. Yeah, 1 HP. Yeah, still gets the kill, which is nice. Gets a pretty good luck roll over there. In comes the recon as well. I don't hate this recon, actually. It's good at warding away the infantry in this area, so it's actually pretty nice. So, yeah. Okay, kills the artillery. That's pretty nice. Continues the attack here with another decent luck roll. Oh, gets 3 HP off the anti-air. That's nice. Goes for the cap. Yeah, this is a solid attack right here. He is probably going to get a property out of this, which I like to see. In comes the infantry. Annoying battlecopter. Can easily kill it away, but he's forcing Oli.D to expend one of his other units to kill the battlecopter, which I really like. So that's a good way to use... he still had a 2 HP. Nah, never mind. He blocks... I thought he was going to join it together, but no, that's actually even better. So, using his low HP battlecopters in a really creative way right here. So again, Oli.D goes for both of these properties down here, which Midfox never captured. So he's going to have a significant income advantage if Midfox is not able to ward that away. He cleans up the low HP battlecopters, which is pretty nice. And yeah, it needs to do something about that anti-air though, and brings this artillery to the east. That's interesting. I guess he really doesn't want to lose these cities. I kind of get that. So But yeah, Oli.D is going to find himself in a pretty good position right now if he keeps this capture game up. So let's see if he can defend himself properly here, because Midfox is pushing pretty hard into his base, but it could go either way, really. He also has a superpower already, so that could be very interesting. I personally think I would have popped Brute Force, because keep in mind, you still get that 10% firepower and defense boost, so that's really nice. Midfox goes for the airport cap. Is this going to succeed? Probably not, but he's forcing units to actually interrupt the capture, so I don't hate it. It's a nice distraction move. Gets the battlecopter as well with his anti-air, that's really good. And moves in with the infantry over the river here. This is scary. He really doesn't want his base to get locked down. Kills the 4 HP infantry. I don't think that infantry was a big threat, but this is not a bad position for the anti-air to be in. Comes in with... Ooh, interesting. Alright, is he counting on this luck roll being bad? Because if the artillery rolls really low, then the infantry could kill the infantry, and then the recon could attack the artillery. So it's a bit of a gamble, but I like it. It's very good. Moves his tank up. He realizes he needs some more backup over here. There's still some cities that the player... Okay, so finally Oli.D is capturing his base over here, or city over here. And he that took a lot of time. But yeah, so Midfox is actually ahead in income right now. And even more so if he manages to capture this airport. But I do believe Oli.D will be ahead of him pretty soon. Depends on if he manages to interrupt this cap over here. So in comes the infantry, and he's surrounding his airport. Don't think he's going to get it, though. He can still attack with the battlecopter and interrupt with the anti-air, but he builds the rocket. And I actually like this a lot, because yes, Oli.D has a battlecopter, but the battlecopter probably wants to run away due to the anti-air. And if he puts his rocket on the city right here, it's well protected. Even if a battlecopter comes in and tries to shoot on it, the rocket can then get repaired, dart one space back, and then the anti-air can come in and shoot the battlecopter. And even if you roll very high, the battlecopter isn't going to do a lot of damage to the rocket on the city. It's probably going to bring it to like 6 or 5 HP, but then it's going to get repaired up. And if you can get a rocket in this position right here, you have locked down the entire section of this map, which is really, really, really good. So day 12 rolls in. Here comes the barbaric blow, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what happens. Yeah, one-shots the recon. Good job, Flak. In comes the anti-air. One-shots the infantry. This is great. Oh, let's see if Oli.D can do something here. He gets the kill. Comes in with the tank. One-shots the anti-air. This is a very good brute force. Almost kills the capping infantry. And what's so funny is that if this infantry was a little bit closer, he could have maybe killed the rocket as well with a lucky blow. So this is great. Gets a medium tank. I agree with this move. It's a good way to ward off all these tanks. Again, I think Midfox needs to withdraw his forces right now. He's sinking too much attention into this area. So builds a recon. Recon's very good with luck-based COs. I like them. They're fast, they're cheap, and they can do a lot of damage during powers. So definitely get some recons out. Midfox continues his attack, kills the battlecopter, which is pretty nice. Gets the anti-air as well. Anti-air gets some nice luck damage on the counterattack damage there, so that's kind of nice. You want to be careful attacking Flak during superpower. He can hit back very hard. Probably not going to get the city. Oh, the city's actually on 4 HP right now, so he could do a joint cap, and that's exactly what he does. So Midfox he can snatch a city and an airport away, and he does another joint cap. Only a 5 HP joint cap, though. So he's not going to get that airport next turn, so Oli.D has another turn to ward it away. In comes the rocket, and the rocket has pretty good coverage. It's probably a good idea that he didn't put it on the bridge, because that opens it up to being attacked. And he builds another artillery. Again, I would have liked to see more artillery from the players in this match. Another battlecopter finally comes out of his airport, which is good. And yeah, he really wants to get that airport. I don't think he's going to get it, though. Not with the medium tank out, but he wants to keep the attack going. Let's see if he actually manages to make it work. Medium tank comes up, rolls a little low on the attack, and he finally interrupts that cap. So yeah, looks like Midfox is not going to get that many caps in this area. Builds another tank, and now Oli.D is threatening 2 cities. Luckily, this artillery does protect them, but if it shoots, it base locks its own base. So it has to move off. So let's see if he can make something happen here. Oli.D moving an artillery over here? Don't really know what that's going to accomplish. I would have rather had the artillery down here, maybe. But he also needs anti-air in this region, because that airport is not locked down. And that anti-air is going to get smashed this turn. So, yeah, you really don't want to give your opponent any opportunity to build battlecopters. So Midfox starts threatening this base right now. He actually shoots with his artillery. I don't know if I like this move at all. Base locking yourself on this map, you need every bit of unit that you can get out here. I guess he really wanted to save that city. So I kind of understand it, but at the same time, moves this rocket onto the side. I'm not a big fan of this move. I understand you're scared of the tanks, but this rocket doesn't really do anything here. Like, you're protecting the city. I guess he wanted to get the city, and I can understand that. But at the same time, I think the rocket would have been better served maybe on one of these two tiles, so that it actually would cover a little bit of ground over here as well. And he couldn't have done his job. But I guess he's resigned to the fact that he won't get the airport. He just wants to get this city right here. So let's see if he will actually end up getting it. If he gets it, obviously, that's a nice pickup. Builds another artillery. I like this move. Get a lot of indirects out. You're up against a bunch of tanks in a choke point, so indirects are the proper response. It's still very even between these two players. I really don't know who's going to take this game. Midfox is slightly ahead in unit value, as you can see right here. But Oli.D is a little bit ahead in income. Midfox does have the unit lead, though, which is a big deal. But he also has a lot of injured units, so... Down comes the tank. I really need to see an anti-air coming out of this base right now. And it looks like he is just going for it. He really doesn't want to give up that base. Oh my god, he's just going for it. What? Oh, I see. Takes out the anti-air, and now he threatens the rocket with the battlecopter. That is actually pretty smart. I like that. I was like, why did he go for the anti-air if he was going to sack units in there? But getting a battlecopter out, I definitely like that move again. The rocket, tricky unit to build. Even on this map where indirects are strong, the rocket is a hefty investment and a very scary, pricey unit to build. Finally gets that anti-air out. You just gotta lock down that airport now, my man, Oli.D. You gotta lock it down. So, day 14 rolls in. Midfox takes the city and pops a system crash. Jugger superpower, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if he gets some good rolls. Rocket, oof, bad roll. That sucks to see. Decently good roll there. Takes 4 HP off a medium tank. Very nice. Kills the tank as well. Yeah. Rocket's still in danger, though. So don't really know how good this was. He gets a one-shot on the infantry. Pretty nice. Tries to attack the battlecopter on the airport. Doesn't roll luck, sadly. But, oh, actually, never mind. I don't know. That was just me doing a brain fart. It was the wait a minute. It was the battlecopter attacking the infantry, not the infantry attacking the battlecopter. So one thing that I'm a little bit puzzled about right here is why did he see fit to stay on the airport? Why not build another battlecopter? I don't understand this move at all. So he attacks the infantry, but I understand he doesn't want it to get capped or blocked, but why not just move to the side and attack this infantry and build another battlecopter? You have one more turn before the anti-air comes into play. I don't get this move at all. But maybe he wants to spend his money on other things. Could very well be the case. He does have a nice artillery over here as well to block his base. So again, very hard to attack on this map sometimes. Another artillery. So it looks like this map is going to go into the late game, ladies and gentlemen. Day 15 rolls in, anti-air comes in. And, oh, you hate to see it. Of course, this rocket will go up to 8 HP, so it can be pulled back, and then the anti-air can take its place and kill the battlecopters. Again, this is why I said that I think the rocket is pretty viable in this situation, so we'll see about that. So, tank comes down, and yeah, okay. Oh, interesting. He goes for the artillery rather than the rocket. Not a bad move here, actually, because the rocket is now locked down. It's dead no matter what. And in fact, he can kind of bully this rocket a little bit now. If he manages to keep this lock, then what he can do is he can refuse to destroy it and just damage it so that it drains repairs. And then the opponent has to delete it. So that's kind of funny. Down comes the tank. More infantry are joining the battle. And here comes the anti-air as well. It is successfully locking down the airport, which is nice. Although I do believe that Midfox can surround it and prevent that anti-air from getting a shot off. So battlecopters can still be built. Midfox's turn rolls in. Gets a very good shot on that medium tank. Actually, no, it's not as good as I thought. 6 to 2. I thought it was full HP to 2, but no. So 4 HP, it's okay. And yeah, that battlecopter is still going to have free reign to... Yeah, that artillery is in a bad spot. Also mech in this base, I don't agree with that. You kind of want to get a tank out. That mech is not going to cut it. So in comes the Battlecopter, and again, a really good position for it. Look how much it threatens. That artillery is now threatened. He needs to get anti-air out. He does have an anti-air here, but he really wants to stay in range of the airport to prevent more Battlecopters from coming out. And this is what I was talking about. Like, he can prevent that anti-air from reaching the airport if he wants to. It's not very hard at all. So now that that tank is there, he can build more Battlecopters. And that's definitely what I would do in this situation. On Darkling Threshold, whenever you get a chance to build a Battlecopter, you almost want to build a Battlecopter because they are just that good. So it really comes down to how much you can deny your opponent from building Battlecopters and how many Battlecopters you can build. And whoever has more Battlecopters usually wins on this map because they're just insane. Unfortunate, didn't get the infantry here, has to use the Battlecopter, but he still has a very scary attack. I would not kill this rocket. I would leave it. I would absolutely, yeah, okay, I would not do that. I would not kill the rocket, I would keep it. I would drain repair funds from Midfox, forcing him to delete it. But yeah, this is a very scary situation. This is why I say a mech wouldn't cut it. He needs like a... I don't know if he can save this base. At this point, this base is lost. Maybe if he built like a mega tank there. But even then, mega tank's not something you want to build against Flak and Jugger because of luck damage. So yeah, looks like Oli.D is successfully locking down this base completely right now. So Oli.D is pretty far ahead. He's been able to swing himself back into this game now. And he's doing very well. So... Day 16 rolls in. It's still not easy to say which player is ahead, though. I mean, Midfox is clearly behind, but actually, no, Oli.D is significantly ahead. Like, Midfox has a slight income lead and a unit count disadvantage, and he's also behind in value. But, you know, he does have a very good Battlecopter lead. 3 Battlecopters in this area, so that's why I'm not counting him out just yet. Yes, Oli.D also has 3 Battlecopters, but we'll see. We'll see if he can make something happen. So... comes up with his mech. Is he going to keep building units in his base, or is he just going to resign it? At this point, you might just want to cut your losses and accept the fact that your opponent is going to get that base away from you. Tank comes in, takes a really good shot at the artillery right there. Really like this play. So this artillery is now completely useless. And look at, like, he can... Honestly, Midfox is in a good position to sweep and base lock his opponent right now, because look at what Oli.D has. Just 2 anti-air. And he has like a tank here, but these Battlecopters are going to turn that tank into mincemeat. So, and he finally gets the city as well. So he's going to take that away from Oli.D. So both players have a very strong attack going for the other person's base right now. So still this game could go either way. So day 17 rolls in, and here comes the superpower maybe? Yep, Barbaric Blow. Let's see what Oli.D can do with that. Gets a good shot, comes in with a tank. That anti-air is now dead. It's too bad he doesn't have an healthy infantry to follow this attack up with. He has a 7 HP infantry. If he had an healthy... Or, sorry. That's Midfox's infantry. I meant... He doesn't have a healthy infantry in range of the base. If this infantry was like here or here, he could have taken the base immediately, which would have been really nice. But he will be able to get it very soon. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be like a north versus south battle. At least that's what it looks like. And ooh, gets a good interrupt off on this capture right here. Gets some really nice luck rolls actually. Oh, that sucks. 1 HP off the tank. That's not great. But here comes the recon. 3 HP off the tank. Not terrible. Still, though, I don't think Oli.D will be able to hold off Midfox's attack up here in the north. It's going to be pretty tricky. Day 17 rolls in, and Midfox gets a good shot on the artillery right here. It's got some pretty prime artillery positions, right? It's going to be very hard for Oli.D to break through that. The artillery falls, Battlecopter comes in, and now the attack on the north base begins. This is a scary attack right here. Of course, Oli.D has a big lead in that regard, but Midfox is definitely going to be able to mop up these units in time as well. So it just becomes a matter of who can do it first and most effectively. Yeah, now the bombers are starting to come out. I told you this when this replay started. This is usually how it goes. Bombers and fighters will start to dominate the map into its late game. It becomes a very air-based battle because of all the rivers. So Oli.D's turn rolls in, he finally starts capping the base, he mops up the last units in the area, and there's a lot of juicy properties just waiting to be captured right now. Just build more infantry, that is my advice right now. Get infantry and start capturing those juicy properties. You want as much income as possible. Ooh, this is not a good idea, unless he builds another anti-air here. This bomber can completely shut down this anti-air. That's the problem with bombers. You cannot zone bombers with anti-air. Maybe if the anti-air is on a property, you can do it. But otherwise, it's not a smart idea. Okay, he does build another anti-air, which is good, so that you can zone bombers with anti-air if they guard each other. But a single solitary anti-air out in the open is just going to get picked off by a bomber, unless that bomber rolls very low on the luck. So you want to be very cautious with that. Overclock comes in, Jugger normal power. Gets a... he doesn't roll luck on the battlecopter. That's sad to see. Doesn't even roll luck on the artillery hit. Having a little bit of bad luck right there. And gets a decent luck roll on the infantry. And here comes the base lock. Ooh, that's so sad. Bombers do not pair well with luck damage, because their baseline firepower is so high that you often don't need the luck damage to score a one-hit KO. And in most cases, the bad luck will actually just make it less likely that you do that. What the? Why didn't he just... Oh, no, never mind. This infantry had moved. My colorblindness makes it a little bit hard to see sometimes which units has moved and which units hasn't moved. So that is why I was like, why didn't he capture? But I see now that it is actually grayed out. So... but yeah, looks like that base is gonna fall. Oli.D definitely has a bit of an advantage in this regard, though. But again, that bomber is gonna be so crucial. Oli.D definitely needs to get some fighters out, I think, to counter that bomber. You're not gonna counter that bomber with anti-air. It's just not gonna happen. It's too freaking mobile. So he gets a good shot on the battlecopter, but he's probably not gonna interrupt that base. Comes in with a battlecopter of his own. Gets a good shot on the anti-air. I do like that. So again, he's still blocking down this airport. There's only artillery defending it right now. He takes the base, and it's time to just pick up all these juicy free properties right here. So both players, Oli.D is actually, yeah, he's pretty far ahead in terms of income right now. But Midfox will be able to stabilize that once he takes the base. So Midfox's turn rolls in. In comes the bomber again. Look at that bomber. It is so threatening. It like, once you get it, like, the dream scenario for this bomber is to be in the middle here, where it threatens pretty much the whole map. That is such a good place for that bomber to be in. But Oli.D is now beginning his attack on this eastern base right here. So this is going to be hard. And I like this artillery. Maybe even, like, on the HQ2, it's very hard to dislodge because of the 4 defense stars. And he needs anti-air. He needs a response to this, because his base is going to come under attack pretty heavily. I disagree with moving your battlecopter back for repairs on the airport, especially with these anti-air here. I don't really know what he's trying to do here. Maybe he wants to build tanks, but yeah, not a big fan of this. He also needs more infantry in this area overall, so he better be moving these 2 infantry up here to grab these bases ASAP, because he cannot afford to let his opponent be that far behind on income. Okay, moving his anti-air up here. Ooh, a little feisty right here. I don't like the positioning of this anti-air. Just to interrupt a single cap. Oli.D, my man, you need every single anti-air you can right now. I wouldn't throw them away like that just for a single cap. But let's see if he can make something happen. Starts the capture, and here comes the attack. It's going to be a rough one, though, because, again, that bomber is so scary. It can pulverize your medium tank and shut down any aggression. Luckily, he does have the fighter. That's good. You definitely want fighters against opposing bombers on this map, so you're going to see a lot of bombers and fighters coming out of the players now, I think. Still don't know which player is going to come out on top here. This is a pretty even game, although I would say Oli.D has a slight advantage. Now, this is what I was talking about right here. Anti-air doesn't do squat against bombers. Boom. Like, maybe on an allied property. Maybe. Otherwise, it's not going to work out for you. It's a very good attack. Yeah, Oli.D, this was... He just threw away these forces right here for nothing. He should have been way more cautious with his units. Here comes another fighter out, and we're about to see a pretty legendary standoff right here. Both players are just massing up on the borders. But, I'm a little bit scared of Midfox's eastern base right here, because Oli.D is pouring everything he has into this area right here, and Midfox is like hanging around here with like his tanks. I would get him over to the right side, unless you plan to take Oli.D's base, in which case you won't win a base race because he's much closer to your base than yours is. So get those forces over to the right now. Don't hang around. Like, you're about to come under great firepower here. So brute force kicks in. What is he going to do with it? He's starting his attack. Here it comes. Oh boy, is he going to be able to base lock him? Oh yes, he is. Takes out the anti-air. This is a scary attack right here. Very scary attack. He needs to be careful. In comes the anti-air. Fighter's also in position. Medium tank comes in. Bomber is out of... Why did his bomber move? You know, I said that Oli.D threw away his forces here, but when I'm actually looking at this position right now, he managed to get the bomber out of position, so maybe it was a good gambit. I don't know if that was his intention, but if that was his intention, then that's a very high-level play. I have a feeling it was probably more accidental, though. So, Midfox's turn. Is he going to be able to repel the attack on his base? It's looking pretty bad for him right now. There's so many battlecopters coming towards his base. But it's a good defense. The artillery is still getting some nice value. In comes the bomber as well. It has to be careful. Ooh, it's in range of the fighter. Be careful, my man. Okay, you are putting the fighter in front, but still, you got to be very careful there. Again, moving his battlecopter to be repaired. I would just get another battlecopter out. Like, they're so good in this situation. So, Oli.D, will he continue his attack? Let's see. So, right now, Oli.D, 25,000 to 16,000 income. Whew. Yeah, he has a couple of turns with a very big income lead right now before Midfox starts capturing his bases. So, yeah, every single property counts a lot right now. But he is moving in with his anti-air. Oh, you want to be very cautious. This bomber can very easily pick off your forces. And he's base locking completely right now, and the HQ is going to come under fire. And that transport copter too, beautiful. Even goes for the fighter, and that's a good roll too. Very, very nice. Another fighter comes out as well. I think this game is looking very bleak for Midfox right now, but he does have a super ready. Let's see if he can do something with it. He's not popping it? Why aren't you popping your... Oh, there you go. System crash. Maybe he just didn't have it ready yet. Okay, this is the superpower. This is an important superpower. Let's see if he gets some good luck rolls here. How cool would it be if Flak and Jugger's superpower randomized their capture rates? That'd be cool. So in comes the tank. Medium. Oh, and he doesn't roll luck on the medium tank. Ah, and he gets a bad luck roll there too. This is really bad. Okay, that's a good luck roll. Attacks the anti-air. Oof, not good. So in comes the fighter. He might be able to just... Oh, what is the bomber doing? I guess it has to stay out of range of the enemy fighter. Okay, really, really unimpressive power. This was... And look how far behind he is on income. Every turn that passes by, Oli.D just gets stronger and stronger. And he's capturing this base right now, and these two properties might fall as well. The HQ is officially under pressure. Is Midfox going to be able to do anything to stop this? The base is under pressure. Yeah, this is looking like... Oh, and the anti-air gets a shot on the bomber. That's probably GG. Yeah, that is GG right there. I do not see a way that Midfox is going to be able to come out. That bomber was his lifeline. That bomber was the only thing keeping him in this game, and it is now gone. And now Oli.D is building bombers himself. Midfox do not have the economy to do that, and I'm expecting him to resign here. No, he keeps fighting. Can he actually interrupt the cap? No, maybe. Nah, there we go. And that's the resign, ladies and gentlemen. A very exciting match, actually. I like this one a lot. Bit of a lower level play, obviously. Both players aren't very highly rated. A lot of basic mistakes in this match, but I still thought it was a wonderful match. I really, really liked it a lot. A really good example of Flak versus Jugger. An exciting matchup, in my opinion. I like the luck. The luck throws a wrench in it. It mixes things up. I understand people don't like it, but you gotta learn to embrace the chaos, man, you know? So, Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back soon with round 5 of the Egg Cup. I'm gonna see if I can find a good replay from every round. And again, remember, sign up now if you haven't already. You only got about 2 days left, I think? Yep, 2 days. 3 days, technically. So, hope you guys are having fun in the Egg Cup. Remember to check your matches and whatnot. Link in the video description. And I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.